Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect and the Extreme Testing Initiative, the series where we put the recently completed-ish facility through its paces and subject it to certain external stimuli that may or may not occur naturally within the prison environment. Things like riots, fighting, and everybody instantly being armed, because it's interesting to see what would happen if these things would ever occur. Not that some of them would, but either way, it's nice to see how the facility would fare when things go wrong. Now, this is the recently finished-ish facility that we've just done, which is the cold prison. We spent several episodes building this thing. It's currently on day 137. In terms of grading, it is quite decent. In terms of cost, it is quite valuable. 700,000 generic units of currency, and that is pretty good. We can also probably sell some shares and do whatever. Oh, even buy them and then sell it for more. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We originally started with this block here. We then expanded to the north and south to get in extra cells and all of this other stuff like workshops and things like that. And then finally to the left where we have the forestry on the top and bottom. And then in the centre, I wasn't too sure, and eventually we settled on this design here, which was originally going to house some death row inmates as well as sort of high risk / supermax. Now, for various reasons that I explained in the last episode of the series, I didn't go ahead and build this. And as I said, I mentioned the reasons for it. Basically, the long and the short of it is we would have to probably cycle out the normal rich prisoners, put them over to hire some more guards, move it around, put in some patrols, get some armed guards, and then have this as Supermax and then Death Row. And that would work, and that's something that I'm still planning on doing. I know there was a lot of people that were not too keen on us finishing it before doing this, but as I said, the reasons for it is I didn't want to continue on with that and swapping them over because I didn't think that would be greatly interesting, especially after the amount of time we spend building the rest of it. Also, the Psych Ward DLC is out soon, or maybe out depending on when you're watching this, and I wanted to be trying that out because it is something different. Whereas doing this, it's something we've done 1,000 times before. It wouldn't be any different. It'll just be transitioning over, which actually would be something we haven't done a lot of, like moving it from a normal risk facility over to a high risk without making any major changes, and see if that would work. So I do plan at some point on revisiting this and coming back to this series and finishing this thing off, but for the time being I just wanted to sort of clarify why we haven't. Anyway, without any sort of further delay, let's go over to our staff, and we have instant calm, instant fight, instant jailbreak, instant riot. It is currently 8:30 in the morning, and we have all of the prisoners, all 114 actually, in the yard. Is that right? We might have some people in solitary. Either way, we have what a surprise, Ed Gaskin in the solitary. Surprise, surprise, yeah. Either way, most of the prisoners are here, which is very close to the entrance. So if it just happened to be that they wanted to run out, let's see how far they would get. And I have insufficient funds in order to get the one generic units of currency thing I need to place. So I guess we're going to take a bank loan out. A bank loan for them to then break out. That is interesting. So we place that, and oh, you can see immediately they are charging out. That was on fast speed there, which is why they charge very quickly. Some of them are actually trying to break into the security room, and probably, I'm guessing, then the armory. The reason for that will probably be to get some weapons in order to aid their breakout attempt. I'm going to go for a full-on lockdown, which is going to close all of these doors and also raise up the road gates, the road barriers, as you can see. The problem with the lockdown is that guards can't go through either. However, they will make it through when the doors are smashed open like that. We have now seen that the guards are following around the main pack at the front here. And what's that there? Has that supply truck been... Oh, the supply truck has actually been... Right, this is something I don't think I've ever seen before. The supply truck has been commandeered by a prisoner, and they are going to ram through the gate, and they've actually killed themselves in doing it. Simon Langdon nicked the truck and then smashed through that gate, but the road barrier is still in place. You can see that the ropes have been positioned here, so they are now going over the top. So they are just escaping very, very quickly. In the main central part of the prison, you can see this has been now stopped. We still have people running around and fighting at the back here, and some of them actually have just given up. But the 28 escapees have... Hang on. Bob, mayonnaise, generic. Brilliant. Prisoner number 13522283. Bob, generic, is a generic-looking guy that attempted to steal an ATM machine with a pickup truck from a gas station. Unfortunately, after making quite a scene, he was arrested before he could dislodge the ATM. Sentenced to 41 years for arson. Generic. What's these saying? Oh, they're saying there they don't have any places to go. But most of the going back to the escape, are they teaching spiritual guidance on the other side of the wall? They're not doing a very good job. Unless part of that spiritual leadership is to teach someone how to hit someone with a baton. Anyway, you can see there that we've got 2 climbing ropes. They went over the top and they've escaped that way. What was interesting to see, and I don't think I've ever seen it before, is that supply truck ram-raided that road gate. If we turn off that lockdown now, we can see that the road barriers then drop. So if we didn't have the road barriers, that could have been a massive problem. But we did have the road barriers, so yeah. To be fair though, even if we didn't, going over there was the main loss. So it's surprising, actually not so surprising, just how many escaped. To be fair though, they did run straight through the centre, smash 2 doors open and then get out. That was not unreasonable, to be fair. If we had pressed the lockdown just before they came out of here, it would possibly have made a difference. So let's try that. Okay, once again onto the same scenario. Everybody in the yard on yard time. We will go to an instant jailbreak, click that, and then unpause it just for a second so it activates, and then go for a lockdown. So the 2 normally open gates are going to shut, and then what we'll do is say guard response, and we'll say guard response right in the centre here, because we want to bring every single guard that we can towards this. So we now are proactively trying to stop this, which previously we let them out and they just did their own thing. So you can see that they are doing the exact same thing, and we have the same sort of effect and scenario pattern. We have some of them just fighting because they just tend to like doing that. We have some that are charging towards the security room and probably going there. The problem is that the bulk of them are, like previously, charging towards the main gate, and they have already smashed through one into the reception. They're smashing through the other, which will then get them out. Tasers have been fired, and I wonder if they're going to steal the van again. They are not. What's happening is some of them are running right down the bottom here, even though it's locked up. Some are running up top, and we have got some people flinging ropes over, but as soon as one of the ropes goes over, you can see that the rest go, right, that's my way to go, and they're going to do that. I can't move that, but this has now been stolen again, and we are going to see the truck ram into the gate once again. So here we go. Bang, and there's the gate there, and that is Simon Langdon once again killed. So even though we put more guards around here, we've actually had more escapes, I think. So we know that if everybody tries to run out of this facility, it's pretty much game over. There's nothing much we can do other than stack people around there. If we had armed guards, if we had more guards stacked there, then maybe that would work. Obviously it does require people with ropes to go over there, so that's the main thing really. If they didn't have ropes, they wouldn't be able to get over there, and that, as you can see there, that's damaged that bit. But the road gate is still there. Sorry, the road barrier, just the gate's been destroyed. Okay, so that's the escape. Let's try something a bit different. Okay, this time we've got the exact same scenario because that's our baseline, and instead of them trying to escape, this time they are going to riot. So we activate that. We have lots of people rioting. I'm not going to put it on lockdown, or am I? No. I think we'll leave it to see what they do. You can see that they are rioting in the main 2 yards. Some of them have gone out and have knocked some guards unconscious and taken keys and such, but the majority are just making a bit of a nuisance of themselves. They're not trying to escape. They're not really trying to take over any other territory. Obviously it's not gang members here, but they are trying, as always, to get into the security room. That is naturally one of the most heavily armed places in here and heavily defended. We've got 2 gates followed by the solitary door to the armory, but then next door to that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 currently stationed K9 units. So overall, instant riot, not too much of a issue, but what is an issue is that what's happened here is some of the outliers, they have managed to get to this edge put a climbing rope over there. And now all of these guys are running to escape because they know they can get through here. They can get through one of the doors and then through that door because it's damaged, and they can escape. Interesting. I can say dump onto that and remove it. And we're trying to get there, but I don't think it's going to happen. 4 escapes. But the riot stopped pretty much immediately. Okay, fair enough. Let's see what happened if they just fought instead of rioting. I'm going to wager this is going to cause a little bit of blood loss. So there is the instant fight. They are now, instead of rioting, which is technically about like fighting and causing nuisance and taking territory, these are just fighting. It doesn't matter who they're fighting. Some of them are fighting most of them are fighting each other. Some of them are fighting the guards. 1 or 2 of them are actually trying to escape. And they're in parole over here. That's what happened. I was wondering how something got to there. But we do have, unsurprisingly, a lot of deaths. And also a person there that shouldn't be there. Why are they there? Joseph Norris. They are in protective custody, but they're not. They're there. So they must have come from, say, here and have been brought up to do parole. Probably. We've got... I was going to say a lot of people going to the left. I think they're actually just heading straight to the to the infirmary there. So that is 14 deaths. None of this has been taken over, and all they did was basically beat hell out of each other. And they didn't get very far. But that's definitely clean up on aisle 4 and 5 and 6. And to be honest, most of the central part of the facility. Okay, so we've seen what happens if they try to escape twice. We've seen what happens when they riot, and we've seen what happens when they fight. Now we go on to the thing that really can't happen, but we always test. And that is everybody being armed with something. In this case, we've got, in no particular order, some cordless drills, some homemade clubs, shotguns, revolvers, SMG of some kind. There is a rifle, and I don't think they can get sniper rifles, but they are now all armed. However, they revert to their base sort of behaviour, which in this particular case is really just wanting to escape. So you can see that some of them are being stopped. There are some tasers, and some doors managed to slow them down for about 30 seconds there, 30 femto seconds, and they are now just charging out. So as soon as Langdon does that and climb over, you can see that they are not using these weapons to just kill everybody. That has occurred around here in some ways, but the majority of them are trying to escape. So put on to max speed, you can see that we had 64 escapes, and now some of them are just rioting. Okay, let's try that once more, but this time I'll close all the doors and see if that makes any difference. Spoiler alert, I don't think it is. Okay, once again we will give them all some tools, and then we'll put it on lockdown. So all of these doors immediately lock shut, like so, and now they are doing exactly what we expected. They are trying to fight their way out. The problem with lockdown is, as you can see there, the guards aren't coming through. If we do for a guard response, not that I think it's going to matter, guard response, put everybody there. Let's see, every single guard we can get there. What's probably going to happen is they're just going to do, exactly what they're doing now. It is an unstoppable wave of these people coming out. We could emergency go for riot police and paramedics, but it's already too late. By the time they get here, I think most of them will have escaped over the wall, although they are coming in very quickly because at the end of the day they have some transport. What I want to test actually is just how many we can stop with the riot police at the front door already with the paramedics. That's what we'll test at the moment, but you can see most of them are intent on escaping. There is some fighting, but that's just sort of holding people off so they can get over the wall. And, oh dear, that's a fairly big brawl going on there. Still a high number of escapes. Okay. But again, same sort of behaviour. They just want to get out. turn the lockdown off, because then at least these doors can open. Yeah, lockdowns, it does just close everything, but yeah, it's exactly what it says on the tin. Everything's locked down, you can't get through. So we have less escapes and fewer escapes and fewer deaths as well. So these riot police are actually, well, quite good there. And then a bit of rioting, strangely. Ah, and also a prisoner in there that got weapons. Right, one more test. This time we're going to preemptively put all of the riot police outside. So, the riot police have been called in. That is 3 sets of riot police, so 18 police in total, followed by the 2 paramedics, so that is 8 paramedics. What we are going to do is station them inside of the reception, like so, and then we will wait to see what happens when the prisoners once again are armed and then try to charge out through here. Not only that, but we're also going to go to guard response and put several guards in there preemptively, and sadly, oh, this is going to change matters, because as you can see now, they've moved from the yard time to free time. So I'm actually going to do it now then. I wanted to get more guards there, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So instead, we're going to go over once more to our arming button. Everybody is armed, and then we'll unpause it. This may alter the behaviour somewhat. They may start to go different areas. No, it looks like the majority of them are coming through the area what we expected. We are going to go for a lockdown. We want to close all this off, even though that is going to have some of them forced into staying outside or whatever, although most of them are using their weapons to shoot the doors. So it's still the case that they are trying to get out. Their objective is not to kill everything. Their objective is to get out, although if anyone gets in their way, then they try and, well, stop it. You can see now that nobody... This is different. Now, because there's nobody here yet, with a rope, they are now charging up north to take out this road gate, which is something that I didn't expect. I'm going to... Oh, no, I'm going to keep that lockdown on, actually, because I want that road barrier up. It's unlikely, yeah, that we're going to stop them. So we have 40 escapes, so it's slightly better, but more deaths. We'll turn the lockdown off. So there we are. That is what happens when certain scenarios that you could actually get in the prison, like the rioting stuff, happen. And what would happen with this facility? We have found that basically people want to escape, and they're actually very good at doing it, which is different from our previous several prisons, actually. The previous 7 prisons have done a lot better than this, although I believe they did have armed guards and such, and certainly more guards stationed around here. This is obviously a normal security area. If we had snipers in these guard towers, would that have made a difference? Possibly. I think it might have, because as they come out of here, they might be persuaded not to run out, but we'll have to have tried that later on. Either way, it means that this facility is actually one of the weaker ones in terms of escaping, although it does require rope and it does require weapons and high numbers. If this was just a standard little bit of a riot, like say only a third of the prison, that would still be classed as a big riot in the game, but still, that wouldn't even get outside the door. Even then, we have enough guards to stop it. We can call stuff in. Obviously, road gates and the other walls. It seems to work out, but it's nice to test that. So yeah, happy with that one overall. If I wanted to improve it, which I think I do, I'd probably just station some more guards in the reception. That's probably the way forward. We could put some extra layers of stuff in, but probably not. We'll probably just station some more guards in. That would probably do the job. But again, these are some edge case and also impossible scenarios. So there you are. Just to reiterate, as I said at the start of the video, I do plan, I do want to come back to finish this off and retrofit it so it's then a high-risk facility, but that'll be a future thing. I don't know when we'll get to that, but my aim at this stage is to look at it, but we'll see how things go. Either way, I hope you have enjoyed this little bit of the Extreme Testing Initiative and a little bit of a mess around. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.